Hey there everybody, welcome back to HoT Online Farm. I am just about completed with my pig deliveries. I wanted to record the final one here. Actually, I don't even know if it's the final one. I was trying to sell down to below 200 or right at 200. I don't actually know what this makes me, but I believe at 2200 it's going to turn over to the next day, and that's when the price drops. And at that point I might as well keep them. Yeah, so we're a few loads away. Oh my goodness, the stream actually took about 4 hours of doing the majority of the loads. I've been at this all day long. I paid someone else. Well, after the stream, I paid someone else to make, I think, 3 loads, which is still cheaper than selling them out of the trigger there. So, paying someone 500 bucks a load, still a lot cheaper. I saved some money there. Got a little bit more sold before the end of the day, and we're trying to make this last trip here, I believe, before the time turns over. It takes, if you were watching the stream, I did time trials. I can make a round trip in about 7 minutes and 37 seconds was the fastest round trip I ever did. So we should be fine. We should be able to make it down there in about 4 minutes or so, and be able to sell these before the. It's going to be close, but we should be able to do that before the 2200. And like I said, we use this time sync mod, so it's a script written by Ian. I think he's with. I don't know if he's officially. I think he's he's official with Frontier Design. But anyway, I do hope that we will. He'll release this publicly because it's perfect for a multiplayer. It runs the server at since we run the server 24/7. I don't have time to answer them right now, but since we want to run the server 24/7, the time sync, it kind of keeps the minutes similar to real life, to what they are in real life, and the hours similar to real life, even if it's not perfect AM and PM, for the most part. So, for a good part of the day. It's effectively 2x speed is what it does, because it has to skip ahead during the nights to maximize daylight time on the servers, right? But the difference is that since it has to skip every night, it can't just run at a static 1x speed because that'd be too slow. That'd be something like what, 1.5 times speed total if you do the average, and then it can't run at always 2x speed because then that would be like 2.5 or 3 times speed. So that's the way the time sync works. Sometimes it's at 1x speed, sometimes at 2x speed, and yeah. So actually, we only have really a minute, I guess, before it takes on over. I thought we had more time than that. Hopefully, yeah, there you go, 2200. I've seen it. It's kind of weird. Sometimes I see it tick over at like 5 or 6 minutes after 2200. So it's not always at perfectly the top of the hour. Let's just try to get this last. I missed this shift there. We'll try to get this load delivered before the end of the night, and then we'll see what the price difference is and if I'm going to do any more. But I probably won't do any more loads tomorrow, just because at that point, I figure the price drop, since it's not the max in the spring anymore, the price difference between that off-peak and the off-peak in spring and the peak in winter, I'm thinking are going to be similar or very similar in price. And so we might as well keep the extra pigs for overtake here. We might as well keep the extra pigs for breeding. Because it'll let us sell more in winter, and then we'll have to sell a few more in winter to get a little bit more cash for fields and be able to buy grain for the next year. So after next year, we should have enough fields where I'm not going to probably sell as much because I want my herd size to grow. So next year will probably be not this craziness anymore. And hopefully someone will buy a semi-trailer so I don't have to spend 5-6 hours doing this. And if I hire it out, it's a lot of trips, so I could potentially lose a lot of money there. So this is still the good price. Now we'll respond to Roy, I think around 2200. but I'm not certain on that with this script. I hope he makes it public for those of you that play on public servers and want to run the server 24/7. It's very great because you get a little bit at night, you still get the sunsets. We like 2x speed and 15-day seasons. It feels like it moves the server along fast enough, but you still get, you know, at 2x speed, you still get a lot of those sunsets, and that's kind of what we like. We really enjoy that at the server. It gives you really perception of time passing. If it was 1x speed and, you know, there's less of a chance you'll see a sunset or a sunrise, so it just makes it feel like a little bit more time is passing around the server. Looks like Roy is selling some compost there from his composter. Maybe we'll just tell him to go on ahead there and just get him a little bit in front of us. Have a little bit of something to follow that's a little bit more fun than the stupid traffic of giants. Oh yeah, blinkers. We should use those. I never really used those before. I think I went the entire stream, all 4 hours, and I might have used the blinkers once. There we go. That's a little bit better. But yeah, this little Unimog has been great for transporting all these animals. Oh my goodness, it would have taken twice as long if I had to use my iSure that, you know, the max speed on that was 40. There's not a lot of straightaways, but there's just a couple key straightaways that really help that extra top speed. I would not want to do it in a tractor. This Unimog has been awesome. I'm so glad we put this Unimog on the map. I used to have the composter the first year on the map that we kind of had failed. I'm calling this season 1 or year 1, even though it's really technically like year 2. But it's since we had to reset the map, we reset the server, the plow factors, almost everything except for basically the starting equipment is the only thing that changed. We're calling it year 1. And there he goes, off to the composter. Put on my blinker, check for traffic. All good for traffic. And we'll take this home, and this will just be a short little episode. I just wanted to show you the difference in my income. I wanted to show you at least one of these loads, because otherwise it'd be like, whoa, you know, from one episode to another, there is been a lot of money that has changed. And like I said, this money is going to go mostly towards fields. Maybe I'll buy a factory, the pig factory. It'll help me be able to buy. I mean, it's $250,000. I don't know if I'll get my money back from it. The margins are slim. Indeed, the margin is. With the math I did, I would lose money versus selling at an average price. So I'll definitely lose money versus selling like now. Selling to make meat instead of selling straight to the butcher at the factory if I buy the factory. So that means I can only really sell during the low prices in the, you know, in the summer and have it be worthwhile, which I mean, that's a lot of extra work. It's a lot of extra money invested, and how long will it take for that $250,000 to pay off? I think with the sale prices I'm getting for pigs, I mean, for selling 200 pigs, I made $300,000. Granted, that's a lot of input costs. That's a lot of money I bought in grain. I spent $200,000 in grain, I think we're saying, the first year to be able to get up to that many pigs. I can't remember how much money it was in grain, but it was a lot. So yeah, our bank account looks good now, but it also looks about what it was before I spent all the money on buying grain from everybody. So I should have recorded that so I would remember how much profit I actually have versus in the before I pay people the grain. So that way I can kind of keep track of my cash. But I think that I do have the first pick in the draft. If you're not familiar, what we do is we select 10 random fields every year to get basically a 10% discount. I think I said this before, but 10 random fields get a 10% discount. Fields that didn't sell last year or the year before get a 20% discount. And you can buy any field on the map for plus 10% of the base price. The fields are the default farming simulator price, which is highly elevated, but it's a game. You don't have any real life living expenses like, salary to buy computers and streaming equipment. So it's not like you have to spend money on that. So this is the field that I'm thinking about buying. $269,000. So 20% off from that is going to be 27 plus 2, 40, what was that, $52,000 off, if my mental math is right. So it's right around $220,000 is going to be this field. And then I don't know, we haven't chosen the fields that are going to be on sale for the 10 that are going to be on sale for 10% off. But that's one that was on sale for 20% off, since that was on the draft last year. I think also 65 was on for last year. I might pick that one if nobody else picks it up, but I'm assuming Platinum Star will probably pick that up, since it's straight and long, and that's what he likes for beats. And then, of course, Field 8. That's going to be a long-term plan. This field's going to be a great for corn. It's going to be right next to home. I don't know. If I get that at 10% off, that's $60,000 off. $63,500 to be a little bit more exact. I mean, I could almost do that if I sell more pigs. And then I'd be set for animal production, for grain for my animals for a long time. That's almost enticing. Could I do that? If I sell another slew of pigs this winter, I think I might actually be able to afford that field. If it's 10% off. That's, I definitely will be able to afford that field. Oh, no, I can't, because I have to buy grain. Well, that's an interesting problem. I don't know, since my pig herd is reduced and I'm not trying to grow it this year, I've reduced the amount of grain that I need to buy for this year. Oh my goodness. Look at this. It's been running on the road, but just a little bit of the dirt and all those hours running on the road got this trailer horribly dirty. So we need to wash that off before the end of the night. I suppose we'll wash the Unimog off here as well, and then we'll just call that the end of the episode. It's been a little quick one, but that's fine. It doesn't always have to be a long episode. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, because otherwise I feel like it might be a little bit too, I don't know, not shocking, but even though not a lot of time passed between last episode and now, since I did all this on a stream, or basically all 4 hours of it was on a stream, and the other hour was off camera. I'm thinking that I just wanted to upload this episode just to kind of bridge the gap, I guess, so it's not too much of a stretch of you guys catching an episode and all of a sudden I have, $300,000 more. So there we go. We've got that taken care of now. And we'll probably just leave it here. The rest of the update in the spring, let's see, it is late spring, it is not quite corn planting season, so we don't really have anything to do for a few days. I might have started corn planting by the time you guys get back. Let's just take a look here real quick at the rest of the fields. So I do still have quite a bit of corn planting. I am just, we'll just do a recap and then I'll be done here. So sunflowers, we have, let's see, sunflowers is this golden one. Sunflowers is going to be 18, 36, 58, and 17. That's going to be all of my protein for the year. I'm buying the wheat that I'll need for this year and some of the corn, and then I'm going to produce corn in 22, 19, and then those are all roughly, very roughly 2 hectares each, I think, roughly. I think one of them's like 1.75, 1.5, I don't know. So they're all roughly, so it's about 6 hectares left. That's basically what I have left to plant. These, remember, I am splitting at a 50-50% because I am farming this land for someone else, another farmer, and we're doing a 50-50. So he gets 50% of the crop. I'm thinking about contacting him and paying him for all of it, so I have that in reserve for future years. And then I'm thinking if I can buy some fields, it doesn't matter if I don't have extra money, but I'll be allowed to grow my pig herd because I can provide most of my grain by myself without having to buy it from others. It just makes budgeting a little bit easier. But I think that's probably that's my goal. You got to produce most of your grain yourself as a pig farmer. If you pay top dollar for, grain from other farmers, it's just not, you just don't make as good of a profit. So I think that's the rough plan. I do have some soybeans to sell in the summer. It's not quite time to sell that yet. And I think that's pretty much the plan. So that's the long-term plan. Unfortunately, the people I'm competing with to buy all these fields now know my future master plan and the fields that I'm kind of scouting out in the future. As far as, I could look to maybe, but this is way too hilly. I don't want 24. The only reason I would have wanted 24 is if I would have bought 25, because that's a nice stretch of really long back and forth land. And it's got, this is a huge hill though. I wouldn't want to mess with that. 20 is on my list. I want 21, 20, and 8. Those are probably the fields I would want next. And, I guess I could always go down here 42. That one's not terribly far away, but actually it kind of is, because I either have to go this really windy path all the way over here. Oh no, it goes down here in between these fields, and then over here, and then back here, and then down the hill, and then that's how you get. Actually, you can't even get there from here. You got to go all the way over here across the railroad tracks. So, oh my goodness, the entrance is way over there. So that's just way too long of a drive. And then the same with 56. That's way down there. But granted, if that's the only field I can buy, it's the only field I can buy. The other fields I might be interested in, some of these over here, 63, 67, 68, these are all pretty good sized. And yeah, it's through town, but it's relatively flat over here. And these are small enough fields that I could pick up without having to have, $500,000 to buy one field or something like that. So those are the ones on my scouting radar. I'm scared if this one comes up on the draft, if I don't buy it at 10% off, that's a lot of acreage for cheaper. I'm scared someone else might get that field. And I do have first pick in the draft coming up, so it's kind of nice. This one, I actually don't know. What is it? So that's 3.8. So even though I'm right next to this one, that other one's a little bit bigger. If both of these are available in the draft, even if this one's 20% off, I might get this one. It gets me a little bit more acreage, and I could still afford it. But that's just 10% more money. I don't know. I'm talking too much about future plans that I don't even know. Typically, we'll draft the fields by summer, so that's actually on my list to do. I'll draft those, I'll randomly pick out of a hat the fields that are up for draft this winter. And then I'll put them up there by the summer, and then we'll draft actually starting in autumn for the remaining factories and any fields. And that way, things are basically set for winter. People can request mods or changes to the map, like there's a fence here where if you bought 24, you probably want to try to rip out the fence if you have bigger equipment. That's kind of what I want to do for 21 if I get bigger equipment. But for right now, that's not even going to be worthwhile, because with smaller equipment, north and south is more than fine for me. But with bigger equipment, east to west, minimize the turning radius, since that's so flat there right across there, I might try to do that. But I don't know. Then again, that'll probably cost $10,000, $20,000 map change fee to do that. I'm making people pay for changes on the map to kind of add a little bit more of, they're not paying me, they're paying the bank. We have a fictional person on here called the banker. So anyway, I think that should just about do it for now. Thanks again, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you all later. So until next time, this has been another episode of Sim versus the World.